Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel for part 10 of the Tony Ray 1/6 scale Tiger Moth build. We left the last video with making the little seat backrest and the dashboard trim, and we're going to start this one with the interior trim kit, which I unboxed in the end of part 9. So yeah, let's crack on, have a look at it. Here's the instructions as such, and here's the components, CPs and all that. Each piece is marked up, so I think I may as well just get them all out now, and then we can start proper, can't we? CP, take them all out, and plywood parts. Right, let's just sand up all the edges and I'll be back to you. We've got CP2 and 4s, CP2, CP4 and CP4. Notice there's a direction arrow on CP2. CP, there isn't a CP15. That's interesting. It actually goes on there, and it's a joystick. Should be 2 CP15s. It's like a little rectangle with holes in it. Oh no! It's not the end of the world. It's what the joystick fits into. Right, CP4 and CP6 and 7 go like that. So that goes in there. So assemble it that way up, I think. I'll just start building. Okay, that's one built. CP5, sorry, CP5 goes on the top. CP1 goes on the bottom. And we got CP, I think CP stands for center part. That's what I'm guessing. It goes that way around. Okay, so far so good. So we want to put in this part, but it just sticks out a little bit. Doesn't stick out very far, because I think this has to, I'll grip it, I think it's just a little tongue like that, and then you can slide that up and out, but only if it's not sticking out too far. Now the next thing are the seats, which I'm not sure if I should put them on quite yet, but this one goes in here like that, and this one here goes on, and then the joysticks will go in these holes with CP15s, which I haven't got. Let's just offer that up then, shall we? For starters, and then this one at the back slides into that groove. It goes there, and go all the way back to there. So the back of the seat is resting on the squab when I fit it. So just go a little bit further forward. Where do these pieces go? These are the cross rails that are going to hold it in place. So I think if I just take that out, I reckon they could go between the formers. Yeah, looks like it. And one at the back. Okay, That's rather neat, isn't it? Didn't take a lot of working out though, thankfully. So we're going to put this back in. One there. And join it up to that there. That's probably a good height. Let's just check. Goodness me. That looks rather lovely. So it's not centered. Pull it across. It's only sitting on the cross rails, but hang on a minute. It's roughly anyway. So 3 cross rails go in, and the seats go roughly there. So I reckon that one's just to cover up any wires or cables. That's cool. Now I'm going to make up these little pieces that go on the side. Okie doke. So what I've done, I've glued in the 3 crossbars. The height was governed for me by the height of my pushrod tubes inside. I couldn't go any lower than that one on the far side. It looks about the right height. I could have gone a little bit lower on the servos. As you can see, there's a little space, so I've got about 15 millimeters, and so it's just sitting there. The rear seat sits in this little ledge here, so it can't go forward, but that leaves just the right amount of gap. Leaves just the right amount of gap for the rear seat headrest. So I know it's in the perfect position. You can't go wrong because this front one positions it all, so that's pretty cool. And the rear one just sits wherever you sit it. Obviously there's room for the joystick to go in each side and the instrument panel. So yeah, I think that works really well. Really pleased with that. Very simple. Oh, I've also put together the accessories. I think this is for slats on the leading edge. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to double check. They've got to be painted up like that. Tony's got some seat squabs there in the bottom. I'm going to have to make some because I haven't got any. And also my little surrounder and the joystick base is missing in this kit. I've told Tony about it. So I've just got to paint it all up and make some squabs. Then I can stick these bits on, paint these up as well, stick them on the side. They actually pivot if you're in the plane and you want to do it. These little bits go up on the side. Where's the camera? Not sure what they do. I'll have to check. And yeah, really pleased with that. That's a simple. That's the very last piece of. No, it's not. Got tailplane supports to do still, but don't they look good? Don't they look good? Hey guys, I've got a little bit of green vinyl matte ceiling paint. Paint some of the inside of this cockpit here before I even start thinking about covering. So first of all, I'm going to paint these bits here, and they shouldn't need any preparation really. I like this colour. I've watered it down a bit. Okay, so now I'm going to work my way around the inside of the structure really. Any parts that I think are going to be seen, I'm going to paint. Actually, there is one other thing I've still got to do. I've just remembered, and that is make the bottom hatch. Got the hatch, I just haven't hinged it yet, and I want to offer up a 4S battery and get any fitting I need to sort it out, any Velcro in there or supports or whatever. Just make sure the technique is right while I still get in there. And so the hatch for this one is underneath the front, and it will take a 4S battery. I've shortened the rear joystick to get it under the compass. So try and put yours a little bit lower if you can. I'm talking about something like this. Most of them will go low. I'm just wondering, this rear one is actually glued in place because there's nothing else in the cockpit. But the front one, I'm just going to slide on because I want it to be removable for access to the servos, which is, I think, the idea. But if necessary, well, I'm not sure it is actually. I was thinking I could put a magnet just to make sure it stays on the front bar, but I don't think it'll be necessary. There are a little joystick surround. They're cut out of 1mm ply, and it was missing in my little kit, so I've just drawn some up to cut some out on the laser, so they hopefully will be in future cockpit kits. As soon as they are dry, I'll glue in the rear one, and I'm going to glue these on the side panels. They are got little holes in them to screw them on, but I'm just going to probably, if they fit, just to drop of glue top and bottom just to hold them in place. Okay, see you then. I've just been on the laser and cut out some, hope you'll see that, surrounds for the joysticks. So that will go on there, like that. Oh, look at that. There's two of these. One controls the tension on the joystick, the other one controls the slats in the top wing, leading edge, one each side actually. So I'm thinking there isn't one, I don't think the controls are duplicated on the front one. If they are, they are, but I'm going to put these two both in the rear cockpit where the pilot normally sits. I'm going to put both of these either side on the back because they're both different instruments, but they both look very similar. So that's what I'm going to do. These, I think, is for fuel cutoff valve. So I'm going to put one of those on each side. But I'm not going to fit those until I've fitted the central support for the seat. And what I've done, I cut that tongue down again. If you remember, I did have it originally set quite long, but I found that I couldn't get it out of the plane, so I've shortened this side and angled them so I can lift it up a little bit because it's got to clear the support at the front and out. Don't forget it'll have a front seat attached to it as well. But I think that's important because I do want access to the servos. I've also put a little bit of wood on the back of this center one just to support the front of this because it sits right on the very edge like that, and there's nothing to glue it to because that I can't glue it to that because that goes in underneath. So before I glue that in though, I have to fit the joystick, which is why I've made the little joystick surrounds. Now I've shortened the rear joystick, and looking at pictures actually it is quite short, so that will go in there like that, and I'm going to glue that in now. And I've shortened it, I'll illustrate on this one, simply by cutting out a section. I cut it here, cut it somewhere down here, drilled a small hole down, a small hole up, and joined them together with CA and a bit of cut off pin. So it's quite a solid little job now. So what I'm going to do is get some CA, fit the joystick. Okay, it's angled back like that, and I'm also going to fit one of the surrounds. This looks really nice actually. What I did, I'll just tell you, I cut the 16th ply, I cut it out, but I cut these little circles are cut but not all the way through. It's just a lower power on the laser, which gives it a really nice bolt effect. So I'm going to put that on there, stick it on there. I'm going to CA that as well. So let's just put a little bit there. A little bit there, a little bit there, don't want it coming off, a little bit there. I think I've just dropped one on the floor. Put that there, get it square. So this is going to go in here. That's going to sit just there. Just before I put it in permanently, I want to make sure that that is going to miss the joystick. Oh yeah, perfect, look at that. Okay, isn't that gorgeous? I haven't looked at it for a day. Okay, that's the rear one fitted. In the front one, we'll just go under there, slide on and drop down. In a minute, these instruments are going to go on either side. I've done a opposite pair, as you can see. I'm going to put this one. This is, on this side, this is the one that controls the tension of the control stick, and then this other one goes on that side. If I put it just in there like that, that's okay. I'll do these guys, I'll shorten the joystick and I'll glue them in place. Now I'll come back to you. Been working on the tail feathers, and I've actually got round to sanding them because they've been unsanded since I built them. So I've sanded them this morning. Now, a couple of little tips for you. Well, let me explain what I've done. I put an extra 3/32 bolster on the front just to get them a little bit more rounded to my liking for a start. I've just run a hacksaw blade in and out of the hinge slots just to free them up a little bit because they were quite a bit tight to put in. So that'll make life easier after they're covered. Both sides, in and out, just very gently, not actually sawing, just going like that, just enough to just take out the sort of the glue or whatever was holding it up. I've sanded the center section into a round shape, top and bottom, to allow it to go up and down. I've obviously sanded the leading edges of the control surfaces to get them to turn. And oh, I've also made two little filler pieces here, look, just been sanding them now. I'll cover those, and once everything's covered and glued together, then I'll glue those in separately just to take that in a little bit nicer. So that's the tail end done. So now I can go ahead and make the struts to go from here down to somewhere. I'll have to look at the instructions. I've taken the leading edge of the fin down quite sharply because I can. It's ply, so no problems there. As you see, the tail wheel moves with it. This goes into ply. So yeah, there it is. Tail end nearly done. Just got to work on that strut arrangement. So I'm just going to look at the instructions and see what's what. So let me find out what the brackets are, which bits I need, and I think the actual pole is, yeah, it's probably a metal bracket each end actually. I think the pole is, and the tailplane, yeah, there's a piece of, got a few bits of wood left over I haven't used. You don't like to use bits of wood up for things early on, just in case you need them later on. I haven't needed these, so where is it from? So it could be this 1/8 square hardwood, which I'll round up. But let me go and get the instructions out and have a look at that, and then I'll come back to you and well, I'll probably just crack on and build them if I'm honest. And I am honest. Okay guys, see you back in a minute when I've got something to report. Oh, one last thing Tony asked me to tell you. I don't know if you've been looking at his other build he's designing at the moment, the Buckner Youngmeister. It's got a more flexible cowling, and you fiberglass up on the inside of the cowl. Well, I do believe the newer kits are going to have the same cowl, not this plastic one. It's apparently more detailed. Well, these are quite finely detailed, so the newer kits are going to have this more flexible cowl, which you glass up on the inside for strength. So be aware of that. Okay, so I've made the bars 115 millimeters apart, but I've decided not to use them because I remembered I had some aerofoil shaped aluminium. I thought, well, let's use that instead. So here it is in place, and although you cut it to 115, that also allows for the fittings each end, which I didn't allow for. So I drilled holes 115, and of course it's short, but not to worry because I've extended them with the original fittings. So although they look a bit bodgy, if you like, they'll paint in lovely, and they're really quite solid. The least solid part of the fixing is where it goes into the fuselage. Where are we? It goes into the fuselage. It'd be nice to be able to try and get in there, but I can't. So it'd be nice to have added an extra layer of ply in there, but they're not a high stress area, so I think it will be okay. So let's focus it again. That's the struts made. That's the tail end done actually. And there is one more thing I have to do, and that is, which I haven't done, and that is the hatch for the 4S battery. Let's just prop it up on my knees a minute. The hatch, which if you remember, I've kept the piece that came out of there, but I want to make sure I can get a 4S battery in there and exactly how it's going to fit, because I'd like to get it in and round towards the front. So I might have to make a box for the battery slide into. I don't know, it looks a bit tight to me. I'm not sure if I can get battery in there and round the corner, so I'll have a go. I've got some 4S 2200s. I'll have a go and we'll see what we've got. Okay, it looks cool, doesn't it? Alright guys, I've made a little hatch. Quite pleased with it actually. That goes there, and up she comes. I've put an extra piece of wood here for the screws to pick up. I'll put a little stop on that side for it to close against. I've got a 4S battery here which goes in okay. See if we can do it. Got a 4S battery here that goes in okay, goes around. I might have to make a battery box for that, we'll have to see, probably will. So I've just got to work out a little catch now of some sort. Haven't really got much. Well, I could put a magnet either in the corners, I suppose. I'm thinking I'll drill a hole in the top so as I put my finger in just to open it, because I have to be able to change this. Don't particularly want to turn the aeroplane upside down to do it, so I've got to be able to reach through. And yeah, there's bags of room. I mean, it'll go all the way up to the front of the cowl if I want, so getting the CG isn't going to be a problem at all. This area here, I've looked at pictures. It's 4-branch exhaust manifold which comes out of the Gypsy engine. So I'll have to try and fabricate up a simple and quite short exhaust really. Might knock it up out of wood or something. So that is the very last piece of construction. Right, okay, been busy, got the wheels on, quite pleased with those. I put a sleeve inside the wheel, which was the same diameter as the supplied, I think it was 3mm threaded bar. So then I've sleeved it, and I've got a locking wheel nut on there on the end of the 3mm, and then I've just popped the screwed on the hubcap. I haven't got enough little screws, so that'll do for the minute. There's nothing else left to make except assemble it and see where the centre of gravity is, and look, just have a last look, make sure I'm happy with everything before I start covering. Got some covering coming this week. I still haven't decided on a finished colour scheme in my head, but I've got a basic sort of colour that I'm going to do. Okay, so there it is, assembled. There's nothing more to do to it. I've got to add a little bit of down and right fuss to the motor. A couple of degrees of down, one of right. I'll do that with washers under the mounting. It doesn't say that on the plan, that's just what Tony's told me. The prototype compensated by mixing in the rudder and elevator for a throttle. So I shall be adding it, but with washers. I don't know how heavy it is. I haven't got a scale in here. I can weigh it. Feels pretty light. So I've got the servos in and the motor. The ESC and receiver aren't going to weigh much. The covering will probably add quite a bit. But it's complete. Wow. It's a marathon really, isn't it? It's quite a lot of work. It's quite a lot of work in the fuselage. Well, it's quite a lot of work in everything really. But it's a gorgeous looking model. Put that one on there. Looks nice. Because I made my own interior, which I painted silver now by the way, before I fitted it. So it's Tony's glazing and frame. You need 1mm screws to screw the plastic to the frame, but I didn't fancy looking at lots of screws sticking out the back, so that's why I've done my... You have to look back on a previous part to see what I did there. That'll sit there, and one behind. Yeah, looks great. Put the other one on, shall we? Put that there. Looks nice. I'm very smart. Looking Tiger Moth. So the next video is going to be covering, start the finishing process. I shall look forward to seeing you then. What a beautiful looking aeroplane. I'll see you in part 11. Yes, I'll see you in part 11. We'll start the covering and finishing, which will take quite a long time. As you know, the last 10% of a model takes 90% of the time, at least it seems like it. So lots to do, covering wise. No rush. This is the only model I'm working on currently now. The Vampire's finished. Yeah, there we are. Thanks for watching, guys, up to now. If you've enjoyed the build series, I'll link to the playlist at the end, and you can click on that. Start right at the beginning if you haven't watched the other lot. You'll have quite a lot of catching up to do. If you're building the kit, follow the instructions carefully. Try and look a couple of stages ahead for an idea of what goes where, and you won't make too many mistakes. I've made a few little faux pas, but nothing that can't be corrected because it is wood. So it's not a beginner's model by a long shot. It's quite an experienced builder's model. If you want to cut corners, you could not do the opening doors and just leave the balsa wood ones in and just paint them silver or paint them the same colour if you didn't want to. You've still got to make the undercarriage, you've still got to make the struts. You need to be accurate, the cabanes and the outer struts, and accuracy is required there. You don't have to do this to the fuel tank. So, you could build the model without adding lots of details. But the idea of a scale model is to build scale bits in, isn't it? I know it's going to look gorgeous in the air. So, yeah. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button just down below. It's free, costs nothing, and you can follow along. Okay guys, thanks for watching. See you soon. See you in part 11. Cheers. Cheers, cheers.